Hello, folks! Всіх вітаю на лекції вебінарного проєкту How to – Як спілкуватись англійською впевнено. Мене звати Катерина Бішер, я комунікаційна менеджерка Мінцифри та водночас модераторка цього ефіру. Цей вебінарний проєкт для вас створили національний проєкт «Дія цифрова освіта» та онлайн-маркет курсів англійської мови booyya. Тема нашого ефіру сьогодні – як коротко презентувати себе англійською мовою. Про це детальніше розповість Катерина Ковальова, старша викладачка англійської мови у Green Forest та методичний керівник проєкту booyya. Катерина має 12 років досвіду викладання. Катерино, привіт!
Hello.
How are you?
I'm actually okay. I'm super excited about our today's topic because I think that's going to be extremely useful right now for all our listeners, viewers, and friends. So I'm happy to share all this knowledge that I have.
Так, і саме час нагадати, що наші експериментальні вебінари звучать двома мовами – українською та англійською. Тож ви можете ставити своє запитання в коментарях до трансляції, якою мовою бажаєте. Так ми зачитаємо і так ми відповімо. Словом, робимо українську мову суперпопулярною в Україні, а англійську мову суперзручною. Так само для того, щоб можна було працювати і в Україні, і за кордоном, тобто remotely. Загалом українці зараз тепер суперглобальні, і ми намагаємося з цієї ситуації винести максимальну користь та позитив, адже всі стоїмо на сторожі успіху України. Тому, Катерино, тобі слово, передаю мікрофон.
Thank you so much. Так, трошки українською, друзі. Всім привіт. Як ви бачите, так, я керівник проєкту booyya, і ми цю лекцію підготували для вас, а саме англійською. Ось, а коли я побачу ваші запитання наприкінці цієї лекції українською, я буду намагатися відповісти українською. Я дуже вибачаюсь, бо це доволі важко переключатись між двома мовами. Я не професійний як перекладач, тому якщо я буду забувати якісь слова і буду говорити англійською, допомагайте мені, будь ласка, в коментарях. Бо, реально, англійською я розумію, що якщо вже налаштувався, то налаштувався. Отже, тобто, поїхали, так? So, our topic today is how to pitch. So, that's our first point here. So, let's first decide what is a pitch, all right? So, what is a pitch? A pitch is a personal presentation, so it's a quick summary of yourself. And this is basically what you answer to a question, tell me about yourself, if it's during a job interview, or to a question, what do you do during a professional networking or membership events. And sometimes it's called not just a pitch, but it's called an elevator pitch. Oh, sorry, a bit too far. So it's called an elevator pitch. And why is it called an elevator pitch? So it's named like this for the amount of time it should take to deliver it, which is usually the duration of a short elevator ride. So roughly 30 to 60 seconds or 75 words. So it's roughly a minute. And elevator pitches are sometimes thought to be specific to an idea or a product that you're pitching to an investor, but you can also use them to sell yourself as a professional. And this is what we are focusing on right now. So selling yourself as a professional. And a personal pitch seems easy because on the one hand, nobody else knows more about you, than you. But on the other hand, it could feel complicated and it could feel a little bit stressful. After all, what you're going to say and how you're going to do that is what the person is going to think of you. So the pitch can quickly help this new contacts, that you have. If this is a networking event, it can help them understand why they should connect with you or consider you when an opportunity arises. And if it's a job interview, your answer to this first question usually helps an HR or recruiter figure out the next questions and in the end get to know you. And again, speaking of job interview, right? So if this is something what they like, the recruiters like, they will begin to find out why you're the best candidate for the job. And of course, in terms of hard skills and experience, as well as soft skills. So it's a great opportunity to demonstrate that you can communicate and you can communicate clearly and effectively, connect with and react to other humans, that you can listen and you can answer adequately and basically present yourself professionally. So today we're going, so my plan is, that we cover 10 points, which will help you write your perfect pitch. So the first 4 will be about this 4-step formula of structuring your pitch. The next 3, it's more about an approach about the writing process. And then we're giving 3 pieces of advice, what to do to avoid the most common mistakes, right? So let's start with this formula that I've already kind of previewed for you, So the first point, so surely it's easier to listen to an answer which is coherent, which is logical. And building your answer around a certain formula might be just what you need. So we suggest you follow the next 4 steps. And the first step here is to talk about present. So you need to start simple. Present yourself and talk about present. So what does it mean? You literally need to answer the question, who are you and what do you do? So you need to talk a little bit about what your current role is, your current profession is, position, and it's also a good idea to add a little what you specialize in. For example, if I'm a teacher of English, there are lots of teachers of English, and how to decide, well, why am I special? Why should a person listen to me? So I can say, yes, hello, I'm Kate Kovальова, or I'm Kate if it's less formal. And you can present yourself as I'm an English teacher, and I'm great, or I specialize in getting people feel less stressed about their talking skills and feel more adequate in the conversation. So you can think it through and make it specific to what you specialize in. Of course, right now it's more relevant to this kind of presentation, or if it's a networking event, and if it's a job interview, you can say, yes, so hello, yes, this is my name, and right now this is what I do. And now that you have introduced yourself, again, why should another person care? So you want to get a bit more specific and draw their attention in. So that is the part where you say, what are you working on? Oh, I'm so sorry. What are you working on right now? Or what have you accomplished recently? And this is the parts where you're talking about your maybe current projects and your accomplishments, as we've already said. So that is your next, so step, a bit more details about what's going on at this very moment. And as you can see, this first step, one more time, it's your present, is where you are right now, what you generally do and what you're involved at this very moment. So the next step, and this works well for a job interview, is to talk a little bit about your past. So this step will depend, of course, on how you're using the pitch. But still, you need to tell the interviewer how you got where you are right now. So you might want to mention previous experience, but of course, the experience that's relevant to the job and company you're applying for, right? So again, if it's a job interview. And the next step, so we've had present, we've talked about past, and surely it's about future. So the future, just like past, of course, it depends on how you're using the pitch. It depends on the context and on the situation. So the ask, let's say, of your pitch could be a consideration for a job opportunity, internship even, or to get contact information. This is also, this part, this is a good opportunity to explain the value you'll bring, why you're a good fit for their job, literally, or generally what your audience, if you're at a networking event, what they have to gain from your interaction. So you need to focus on what you have to offer during this section of the speech. And present, past, and future, right? This is not the only way to build around your response, of course. You can change it as you see fit. For instance, for example, right? If there is a specifically, you think, it's a specifically strong story about what you brought to the success of your current project, or what brought you into this field. So you might want to decide with this past story first and then get into what you're doing at the present. So it doesn't really matter, but whatever order you pick, I can't stress it enough. Make sure you ultimately, at the end, you tie it to the job and the company we're talking about, the job interview. And a good place to end it, this whole speech, is to give a transition of this is why I'm here, right? So you want to be absolutely certain that, again, coming back to the job interview, right? So that your interviewer is left with the impression that it makes sense that you're sitting here talking to them about this role, right? So that you're qualified. And I sometimes even say this is not a 4-step formula, but like 3 steps plus 1. Why 3 steps? Because 3 steps is where you generally talk about yourself. And the plus 1, or the 4th one, this is the step where you call to action, right? So call to action is when you end your pitch and this presentation by asking for or stating what you want to happen next. So you need to think about what you want the outcome of this conversation be, and ask for a meeting, or express interest in a job, or confirm with your interviewer maybe that you have fully answered an interview question. So that could also be the end of your presentation. Have I answered all your questions, or would you like to hear more, for example, right? So this is a call to action. And maybe for those who have just joined us, right, we will summarize once again. So this more or less simple, I would say, formula to talk about yourself is to follow this 4 steps. So talk about present, and kind of has 2 sub-steps, right? So your present is your current position, and then you may say what you specialize in, and then you may say what you're working on right now, or your just recent achievements, something like this. Step 2 is to talk about your past. So your past is your relevant experience to this conversation that you are having. And it could be a big win or anything that brought you to the field. And then the future is what you want to be the outcome of this conversation, right? You may ask for a position, for an internship, or even contact details. And then we are calling to action this person that we are talking to. So these were our 4, let's say, steps, to structure your presentation about. So the next point will be how we approach writing this presentation. So what do you write, right? So the first thing I suggest, and let me pause a little bit here, doesn't mean that it's the only way. And second, it also doesn't mean that once you have written it, you are stuck with it forever. Of course, you can try again and again until you like it. But what we suggest is doing like this. So preparing your pitch in 15 minutes. And as I've already said, there will be 3 more points here. So we will split this 15 minutes into like 3 5s, all right? And
let's see, maybe this second part will surprise you, maybe not, but hopefully it's useful. So let's go. So the first 5 minutes is when you write down everything you want to say about yourself, right? And this is literally the brainstorming part. So the first step here, get everything on paper or on computer. That doesn't really matter, really. So you just need to understand what you're working with. If it's a paper, take a blank sheet of paper, write down every little thing you would want someone you're meeting to know about you. So this is 5 minutes, right? So start writing. Don't feel the need to hold back here, right? You are going to edit it down later. Doesn't really matter, right? So this is this brainstorming stuff. It may be relevant, not relevant. Don't worry about it at this point. So just keep on writing. And if you feel stuck, these are 3 questions, are good ones to consider. So first, right, what makes me different in my field, right? So if I'm a teacher, how I'm different from somebody else, right? So I keep on using this example of a teacher because I'm a teacher. Of course, you can apply it to your profession. So what makes you stand out? Is the second question. So how do I do that? What is so special about me? And what benefit would I like to bring to the world, to the company that you are applying for? And really, if you feel stuck or you aren't great about bragging about yourself, try asking yourself these questions. Even if you're making a career change, right? So sometimes we're stuck. Yeah, but what if I'm applying for a position in a sphere, in a company, which is not at all connected to what I've been doing for the past, 10 years or 5 years? Well, you may have a different experience, but you must possess some skills. So this is the part you may rethink how your current skills and experiences relate to where you want to be. And this is our next part. So now you have written everything down. This is our second step. This next 5 minutes, you write it on a sticky note. And it should be square. Unfortunately, I was looking in my apartment and I only have heart-shaped. It doesn't really work. It's more extreme, I believe. But why is it a sticky note? So try it in this specific format because such a small shape, such a small form, it's literally the same exercise of thinking what's great about you, but with only the space of a square sticky note to work with. And now you need to think, what from everything that you have just written, what would you prioritize, right? So what would you decide isn't that important for a first interaction, right? So you need to look over your thoughts from the first 5 minutes and see where you need to make some cuts, right? What you want to keep and what's really not that important. Right. So if you're having a hard time, again, parting it down, there is, again, a good framework to use is to come up with a few sentences that answer these 4 questions. And again, we're giving you guidelines, guys. So first, what do I do? Right. So what do I do? All right. Why does it matter? Why it's important? And why do I do it? Not others, but why do I do it? And then what's next for you? So what's your next step? And again, it's literally what I've been telling you guys. So what do I do? This is your present. Why does it matter? This is also your present. This is where you may add what you specialize in, what you help people with. And I will talk a little bit later about how exactly to say it. So what's more important? And why do I do it? Could be the part where you talk about what brought you into the field and what's next. This is your future part, right? So these are 2 steps. And now that you've written, so you've answered this question, you need to start with a short descriptive. explanation of what you do. Like, okay, let's step aside from our teacher career and let's say I'm a writer for the technical products division of, I don't know, ABC company, right? And then take it a step further and think about how your work affects others. So that's the question. Yeah, why does it matter? So perhaps you can say, I'm a writer and that I help translate technical specifications into easy to follow instructions that anyone can understand from home. Or as a director of methodology, I help create courses that are simple to understand, that are interactive, engaging, and again, anyone can understand them at home without the help of a professional, without the help of a teacher, right? Then you try adding your reason for doing it as a suggestion. So I love being able to transform something complex, and if you're a writer, so of technical terms, of I don't know, so something which is full of jargon, into simple, clear steps and help people master technology. Or again, as a head methodologist, I love being able to clear out something as complex as English grammar to the people of the world and help them master their speaking skills, their language, their English. So here, if you remember, as I said, I will tell you how to form it. So don't just talk about your skills, talk about how they will benefit that company, right? So you can help again, right, if this is the job interview, and I suppose most of you are here for the job interview, right? So help the hiring manager understand how you will be useful, how you will be an asset to the company and the team. So pay attention to the language you use when you talk about skills. Rather than prefacing, like starting all your sentences with I, you can talk about the skill itself. Or, okay, so let me explain. So describe how you used a skill in a team, or how it helped you collaborate with a colleague. So that's the idea, right? So what was the result? And if you are interviewing for a leadership position, you can talk about how you used your skills to motivate your team or how they made you a better leader. So you need to use examples for your current or past jobs. And literally, the best way to highlight your skills is to provide examples. Because let us say like this, again, from the position of a teacher, I may give as a teacher to people who are learning, I can give numerous examples, but that does not necessarily mean that my students know what I'm talking about. And to understand that they know that what they're talking about, I will ask them to come up with examples. So in this way, your presentation with generalizations, let's say, it will transform into something more personal. So by talking about how you used your skills, you will show this hiring manager how you can fit into the role you're interviewing for. So rather than just boasting about your skills, describing how you use them will do the talking for you, right? So, and then they will see that these are not just the words that you're using, not just the nice phrase that you copy-pasted from another person's presentation. That is the illustration of what you're talking about yourself. And finally, if you're job searching, right, or looking to gain something from the interaction, if that is the networking event, again, mention what's next. Now I'm looking to branch out and do consulting work so I can apply my expertise to many more companies and improve their understanding of technology around the world, right? So why are you here, right? What are you looking for? What do you want right now? And that was our second step, right? So first, write down as much as you can. Second, you shorten it, you cut it, you edit it so that it fits on a sticker note. And then step number 3 is saying it out loud. So let's say it's a person who you are talking about. So before you land on a final speech, you need to actually test it out, right? So you need to test it out loud. You want it to sound like something that you would actually say in a normal conversation. Not like that you are rehearsing and reciting something that you or somebody else wrote for you or you carefully wrote. And that is very important, because once you're done with your speech, let's say the interviewer likes this and they start asking you questions, and your answers to the questions, they are entirely different from the level of the language that you've just been using. Certainly, they will assume, they will believe that you've prepared for this conversation. And yet, if it's too recited, if it does sound, when we can hear that, we can feel that, right? When person, it's like, I don't know, reciting Shevchenko's poem, right? It doesn't feel too personal. But once you have a pitch you are happy with, put this sticky note somewhere accessible, like on your desk, on your computer screen, on your wallet, on your phone, even under, if you have transparent case, you can like put it under the case. Look at it over every day, and if possible, start integrating it into your conversations. So of course, you may change it, you may like tweak it from time to time. I often will personalize mine according to who I'm talking to or based on my new goals, of course, but you'll have a solid base to start from, right? So this is your draft of this pitch, and you can add and edit it whenever you feel it's needed. And what I also recommend you do is leave yourself a voice message or record your answer and then wait at least an hour before you listen to it again. So why this is important? First, sometimes we are not too open to talking to somebody else. We feel shy and we're not too confident. So it might be a good first step to just send yourself a voice message. And then why I suggest giving it an hour at least of break. It will give you some distance and some perspective. And when you finally play it back, you will hear and see if the answer sounds solid and credible to you. I will even suggest not even an hour, maybe a day. Let it cool off a little bit and take it back, right? Listen to it again. Maybe you would want to change something, right? So sure, practice will make you answer more confidently and will make your answer stronger. And there is a fine balance, however, right? If we practice and when we memorize, so it needs to come off very authentic. So, and this is where we need to go to our next 3 last points. And they are about tips to follow if you want to, let's say, well, literally, if you want to avoid the most common mistakes, right? And I will start with the first one is when you need to speak, once again, naturally. So speak naturally. When you sound too rehearsed, like when you repeat it again, it can make the conversation feel, let's say, forced, right? So try your best to deliver your pitch with a conversational tone, like it's not a poem that you have memorized. And a good trick here, you might find it helpful to write your pitch on this sticky note in abbreviated bullet points. And let me explain what I mean. When you practice giving it, you will train yourself to remember ideas rather than memorizing a direct script. And this can make your presentation sound more organic. So it's okay. Of course, it's okay if your personal preference is to memorize your speech, especially if you're nervous, if you have never done it before. So if this is the case, just try to practice it until it feels natural to say it out loud. Other than that, make a step further. And as I've already said, write down some ideas, and then you can play around these ideas, and each time your speech will not be like exactly the same, but at least it will be a solid base for you. And next one, so if you want it to be memorable, if you want the person to understand what you are talking about, speak slowly. So slow it down a little bit. We understand that generally the presentations should be around a minute, because we are the generation that is not interested in a lot of details. If there is no hook, right? The person presented something that you are not interested in. But at the same time, it should not be, like an Amazon river or a Dnieper river, like flowing. No, it should be something slower. So if you speak too quickly, right? Remember the time when somebody spoke really, really quickly. Surely you must have missed some important information or didn't even switch on from the start, and you've already missed something, right? So give your pitch at a slower, thoughtful pace to make sure your audience or whoever you are talking to, they have time to process what you are saying. It might be your natural tendency to speak quickly. I actually do speak quickly myself. And if I have delivered the first part at a quicker pace, write me in the comments. I will slow down a little bit. But at the same time, when we give a speech and we haven't practiced it enough, you might feel nervous. And there is a tendency for a lot of people, when they feel nervous, they are afraid of the silence and they start talking a lot. So make an effort to reduce your speed and literally incorporate the strategy when you rehearse your pitch, by the way. So as a tip, what helps me is taking relaxed, deep breaths. It may sound funny, but still. So deep breaths can help you slow your speech and breathe in over the course of 4 seconds and out 4 seconds to find a good pace. If you don't have this problem, and if you actually struggle of what to say, well, you just skip this step, right? So you don't have this problem. And what I also wanted to add, you may find it useful to use one page for most, but not all occasions. Think through. You may not need to customize it for all the audience, but actually it is a good idea to have one general page, like the base, as I was saying, that you can use at any moment. But you should try to tailor your pitch whenever you can. And for example, if you are, I don't know, if there is a startup business at a career fair is when different startups present themselves. So if you're approaching a startup company at this career fair booth, you could include in your pitch why you're especially excited about a startup business or something along the lines. So you get the idea. The more personalized your ideas are, the more likely you are to get a positive result from the conversation. And also, it shows your interest and respect for the listener's time. After you have presented yourself, you basically need to listen to another person, right? Look interested, engage into the conversation. But our third tip, they may be obvious, yes, but still, sometimes we forget about them. So if you feel, oh, but I know about it, excellent. My congratulations. If you have forgotten, just consider it next time. So the last tip here, and this is our last point in this like 10-point, let's say, presentation. Let's say it should be easy to understand. Okay, so we want to sometimes show our level of language, our level of English, and you never know the language level of another person. Your goal right now is not to show off your language skills, but to present yourself. And here you need to use plain language in your pitch that all audiences can understand. So for instance, if you include a lot of technical jargon again and industry-specific terms that only someone with your skill level would know, then you might alienate a recruiter or anyone else who doesn't have the same level of knowledge. Of course, you decide whether you need this contact or not, but it still is advisable to skip it and move this exchange of jargon and specific language a bit to a later part, not during the presentation stage, all right? Because this can make it difficult for your audience to ask you follow-up questions. And it may actually, and less likely to continue the conversation with you. And so the idea is make it easy, make it slower, and try to speak naturally. And this is why I was saying, so you need to say something that is more technical later into the conversation once you've understood that, well, literally, this is what you have in common and what you can do. All right, and now we're moving on to the part where I promised, so we have some grammar that we use during the pitch, and we have some vocabulary. So since this is not an English lesson, I will give you the basics, you guys. And the first basics are about the grammar forms. So you might be surprised, we've covered that we need to talk about present, we need to talk about past, and we need to talk about future. However, you will need to use only present forms. So I will not go into a lot of details on how to build these forms, but we have a link we've prepared for you guys, an online, let's say, worksheet, online materials that support this presentation. And over there, you have all the tenses that we will look at right now. And these grammar tables, they contain all the necessary information, okay? So right now, I will focus on what we need these grammar forms for. And as I've already said, we only need present forms. And the first part is when we talk about regular situations. So if you remember, we'll be coming back a little bit. So this is your present. So this is where you explain your current position, where you explain your skills, and so on. And over here, the examples could be like this. I often take on ownership of projects with, multi-million-dollar budgets. For example, of course, if you are not, then you can tweak it, you can change it according to what you do. Or I possess strong negotiating skills. So these are examples. I remember that I've said a word saying I, but later you can explain how you believe, why you believe you have strong negotiating skills, and how it helped you in your current position. So if you look at these examples, you may, I hope you know, you may see that this is our present simple tense. And the beginnings that we recommend is using something like I often, or even if you don't do that, I don't usually, and showing the frequency, right? So how often something happens. So the next part is where we go into specifics. And it's still the present, but it's more about current situations. So we focus on more details, or it could be something temporary. So if it's something temporary as a contrast to what we have just said, your current position, it could be like this. So right now, I'm working closely with both product development and sales teams. So showing that it's only relevant to your current project. Or right now I'm looking to branch out and do consultant work. Again, you will not be looking for it forever, so it's only just temporary, and this is relevant for this present moment. And if you know English grammar, even if you don't, this is the present continuous tense. So we focused, yes, so we have present simple for something general and present continuous for more details. And again, instead of just saying now, you can replace it with right now or at the moment and use this continuous form. So I'll repeat once again, if you are more interested into the forms, we have the materials that support this webinar, and you may look at the grammar tables over there, how to build them. There's a lot of explanation to this. And the next part is when you talk about your experience. So when I've said this is the past part of your presentation, where you talk about your achievements, where you talk about big wins. But why did I say that we need to use a present form? The thing is, you talk about your achievements, your results up to date for now. You may talk about your present job position in this timeline. So it could be anything like this. But this is where you use your experience like this. I've already made valuable contribution to our latest project, or I have never had any troubles managing a busy workload. So if you look at these structures, and if you think this is something complicated, it's really not, but the tense is present perfect. As an English teacher, this always confuses students. Why is it present, but we talk about past? Because it's related to present. It's related to your experience in your, let's say, career, which is still not finished. This is why it's still in present. It has relevance to present. And this is when you say, yes, I've never done something, or I have already done something. Like I've never had any experience in this field. You may admit it, right? But then you can say, oh, but I possess certain skills that may be useful, and so on and so forth. And the last one. So we keep on talking about your experience, and it's still past, but this is where we focus on something recent, on something maybe repeated, or you may want to focus not just how much you've done, but how long it took you. And again, maybe how long it took you to get where you are right now. And here, when we have how long something, again, something that talks about appearance, you will see for some time now, for instance, our team has been working to strict deadlines, right? So this is the last form that we have, and this is present perfect, but it's a continuous form. And very often it's used with the words, recently I've been doing some time, for some time now. So you can see, right? So it's how it connects to present. Recently, because recently it's lately, so in this period of time, which is connected to the present, or for some time now, and again, for some period of time. And next part is where we have some vocabulary. So you have noticed that I've used some of the phrases that we can use when we describe ourselves. So first thing that I want to say, these are some suggested phrases, and you can see they're more or less general, but you can still use them in your presentation. For example, like take initiative. You make a commitment to certain projects. You can be a good listener if you're applying for a position where it may be useful. You can work to strict deadlines. So these phrases, they actually look very simple, but what can be confusing is the parts, what to say, work by, work for, work, what do we use here? So these prepositions, we call them, to here is more important. We may build good working relationships. That phrase kind of translates very well into our language. You can work closely with somebody, make valuable contribution to certain results and projects. You manage a busy workload, you possess strong negotiating skills, you take on ownership of something. So we prepared with these, we've promised 30, and there are, but we've prepared with these specifics because these are like phrases. We prepared tasks. Again, when you have free time, with these extra materials that support our webinar, you may find all the phrases over there. You may find my presentation over there. And for example, the task works like this. You have the beginning of the phrase and you have the end. And you see how well you can actually build the phrase if it's so easy and recognizable. Or we also have different flashcards that you can click on and see if the meaning of this phrase is similar to what you thought it was. So there are certain tasks, like there are sentences, and you will need to use this phrase into the sentence. So we've prepared a minimal, say, practice, to use in your elevator pitches. And we've also added 20 extra phrases that could be used. So everything can be found in these extra materials. But right now, I wanted to thank you for your attention. So this is my time. So one more time for summarize. I will summarize, and then I will try at least to answer your questions, you guys. So what we do, we have 10 points that we follow. So the first point is the first 4, let's say, or 3 plus 1 is the structure. You focus on your present, your current job, and then more details about why you're doing it, or what you specialize in, what current project you're involved in. Second point, you focus on your past, your achievements, your big wins, all the grammar forms you can find in the extra materials. I'll repeat it once again. And then you focus on your future. So as a future, what do you want right now? So what are you looking for? And then you finish it with a call to action. All the questions that you need to focus around, they are given in our presentation. So the next 3 points are about the approach of preparing this pitch. First 5 minutes, you write everything you know. Next 5 minutes, you minimize it down to the size of a sticker note. And then you see what's important, what's really important, what's not. And then third point is you say it out loud and say that you actually practice saying it. And then next 3 points, they're connected. So be understandable, use simple language, slow down, and I think everything will be easy for you. If not, take a look back, use some of our ideas, use examples about yourself, and so adapt to the situation, of course. Have the minimum, play around a base, and then prepare something that could work as a base, and then change it according to the situation. So now I think it's time. For me, I'm done. I'm ready for your questions. I will try my best to answer them. If not, I'm so sorry, I will admit so, but I hope I will. All right, I'm ready.
For sure. Great to come back. So it was really, really very interesting, and I will start our conversation from my question.
Okay.
It's about some bad joke. If you used it in your pitch and you're in first meeting, what are you recommending to do?
If you have used a bad joke, you understood that it's a bad joke.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I understand that if the joke is bad, you can show your okay, let's say this is the trick. When you show your vulnerability and you say, you guys, it's a terrible joke. I'm so sorry. Let me start again. And this is it. So admitting that you understand that this is terrible and not pretending that you are the smartest person in the room,
I would say would be the best thing for me. I sometimes do bad jokes with my students, and I immediately admit, so like, I'm so sorry, that was terrible, forget about it. Something like
Great advice. Thanks. So we have a few questions. Can speech contain some not work and not professional skills, for example, hobbies and other lifestyle things?
I would say yes, but again, it sort of depends on the context. So you need to research the company. If this is a job interview, you need to research the company. If they're more professional, if they are more say focused on your professional skills, they might be more interested in you as a professional, and that could be a better idea to explain how you managed well your team or how your skills helped. However, if you say, I am excited about skiing, and that is let's say a sport that requires a lot of concentration, and that helped me in my work, and this is how it helped. So you can tie it to something that you are talking about professionally, or you say, I'm actually interested in music and I play instruments, and that is believed to develop my creative side, and this is what I feel helps me a lot when I generate ideas with my team. So you can, but again, tie it down to your professional, at least during this presentation stage, right? So tying down maybe to your professional skills and how it helped you in your job, like this. I would recommend.
Many thanks. А тепер давайте, можливо, перейдемо до таких непростих запитань. От коли зараз українці часто знайомляться по світу з новими для себе людьми, які допомагають адаптуватися, які допомагають облаштувати життя на певний час. Що варто розповісти про Україну? Що варто розповісти про свій попередній досвід? Можливо, у вас, Катерино, були схожі історії, або ви їх чули, і є якісь поради. Словом, ідея в тому, що кожен українець зараз є таким народним дипломатом, в тебе є нагода розповісти про свою країну, не тільки те, що тут війна, а і те, що класного тут є, чому треба так всьому світу захищати нашу територію та нашу країну. Ось, може, будуть думки.
Це реально таке питання, про яке треба подумати. І в мене, я не знаю, в мене от наразі не було такої ситуації, коли мені треба було презентувати як саме про Україну. Тому що коли я кажу, що я з України, мені розповідають про те, так ви такі вже... Ці люди, ви такі сміливі, ви такі кльові. Тобто мені навіть не треба розповідати про Україну, не знаю, мені, напевно, це пощастило. Також говорю дуже, що українці дуже працьовиті. І це так і є. Тому, коли я чую, що хтось з України, це навіть не питання, що тут треба розповідати. Мені здається, також це питання до кожного, хто немає такого немає універсальної відповіді, що відповісти про Україну. Якщо мені хочеться сказати, що в нас дуже крута не знаю, система навіть в нашій в компанії, так, ми намагаємося допомогти нашим українцям, які зараз за кордоном, спілкуватися і розуміти англійську. І я розумію, що це перше, про що я б хотіла сказати, що в нас дуже багато крутих стартапів, наприклад, і розповісти про це. Чому треба захищати Україну? Бо ми ж тут все, і Дію створили, і booyya створили, і ми такі кльові. Тому тут треба подумати, бо я зараз не готова прям сказати такий крутий спіч, тому що, як я і говорила, треба 5 хвилин подумати на цю презентацію. Ось, але це моє єдине, що я хотіла б сказати. Давайте оце, щоб йшло від серця. Як ви відчуваєте, що йде від серця, воно відчувається. І навіть просто 1-2 речення, але якщо вони щирі, то тут навіть немає питань. Мені здається, вони завжди будуть виграшними.
Маємо коментар про те, що Ukrainian IT specialists are world's best.
And that's true. I would say, it's true. There's a lot of demand for IT specialists around the world. And as I was saying, when people say that the specialists come from Ukraine, it's not only IT specialists, and there too, but let's say my students are right now in Greece, in Spain, and everything that I hear from them when they apply for some job positions, when they say they are from Ukraine, when they have a task and they demonstrate their skills, it just, I would say, leaves their companies, well, satisfied. And I don't know if speechless, but yeah, they see that everything that they have heard has been confirmed by what our people have to offer, what they have to say.
Так, кожен вкладає свою маленьку цеглинку в те, щоб сприймались українці як дуже круті спеціалісти. Добре, і ще про сором'язливість. Ви можете відповісти, Катерино, англійською. Це про те, коли в тебе є нагода під час зустрічі, під час дзвінка додати ще один коментар і збагатити розмову, але ти соромишся свого рівня англійської. Або якщо ти дійсно там себе презентуєш і ти там волієш сказати менше, але правильно, відповідно до граматики. Або ще інакше, коли там випадково в тебе є така розмова, як elevator pitch, дійсно в ліфті, або серед дороги, і ти також намагаєшся уникнути цієї розмови, бо не впевнений в англійській. Тобто, які найкращі поради щодо того, аби здолати оцю сором'язливість, ви зустрічали?
Так, ну давайте, я ще додам, що в нас на booyya є курс, до речі, про те, про що можна розповідати на elevator pitch. Це по-перше. А по-друге, ну дивіться, я про це говорила, можна так, коли ми вивчаємо іншу мову, я розумію, навіть от просто для себе, я навіть також я другу мову, не тільки англійську, і в мене було завдання також записати оцей, ну не піч, а просто інформацію як audio message. І я розумію, що я просто не можу себе заставити взяти це зробити, я просто соромлюсь. Тому не чекайте на щось ідеальне, просто зробіть. Спочатку потренуйтеся на кішках, потренуйся, не знаю, в ванні розповідайте водиці, вона тече і можна там розповідати. Запишіть собі декілька цих презентацій, декілька варіантів. Тобто, принаймні, потренуйтеся із собою. Що робити з сором'язливістю? Я розумію, що в нас багато, ми соромимося нашого рівня. Ви знаєте, насправді європейці або навіть люди, вони коли чують, що ти намагаєшся розмовляти англійською, вони they don't judge, вони тебе не засуджують за це, бо всі розуміють, що це твоя друга мова. І я навіть говорила, що треба давайте намагатися спочатку зробити це просто і зрозуміло. І для цього не треба там дуже-дуже великий або високий рівень англійської. Зробити це просто зрозуміло, зробити це просто. Покажіть, як ви passionate about it, чому ви це робите, чому ви це любите. І це буде краще, ніж будь-яка суперкльова, там, потрясна англійська, а людина вас не зрозуміє. Тому зробити це простіше, але, як вже я говорила, нехай це йде від серця і просто do it. Знаєте, just do it. Оце просто зробити, і одного разу все зробите, і ви зрозумієте, який цей кайф. Коли ти підходиш до людини, ти розумієш, я хотіла з цією людиною поспілкуватися. І це такий, hello, my name's Kate, I'm from Ukraine, and I'm here at the teachers conference. And they hear, wow, like, hello, I'm from Mexico. And they keep on talking, they pick up this conversation. So the first thing is to start, and to start practice with your phone. You can do that, and then take a step into the world. I hope it helps. I hope. Just do it. Don't worry. Everybody understands this situation.
Nice. Я думаю, час кланятись та дякувати за увагу всім, хто боровся сьогодні за своє знання англійської мови і за цю легкість, яка неодмінно до них завітає. Я, власне, теж борюся над своєю легкістю і стараюся перед сном витискати з себе принаймні 2 сторінки англійською мовою. І, чесно кажучи, це тримає в тонусі. Тобто 2 сторінки never kill nobody, і на них все одно знайдеться час.
Абсолютно, абсолютно. Це можна зробити ввечері, це можна зробити вранці, як рефлексія на те, що було сьогодні, і просто написати все, що є в голові. Це дуже круто, це похвально. My congratulations, good job, Калина. Keep on doing it.
Дякую, Катерино. В свою чергу дякую за таку насичену лекцію. Нагадаю нашим глядачам, що сьогодні з вами були Катерина Ковальова та Калина Бішер. Це був 3-й ефір вебінарного курсу How to – як спілкуватись англійською впевнено. Його для вас створили національний проєкт «Дія цифрова освіта» та онлайн-маркет курсів англійської мови booyya. До речі, подивитися лекцію можна буде в записі на Фейсбук-сторінці та на Ютуб-каналі «Дія цифрова освіта». Вчимося та підкорюємо нові вершини. Слава Україні!
Слава Україні! Героям слава! Дякую вам!
See you!